Welcome to Future Prospects. I have on a very unique guest on Future Prospects. Her name is Amber McCauley. And Amber is a very unique life coach. She has the most, how would I say, interesting way of addressing issues within your life to get you ahead. Her book that she's put out, and I'm not going to say the title of it because that's going to be part of the whole show, but I want you to listen to what she has to say because it's helped me. I believe she has great information for yourself. That's why she's here on Future Prospects. And without no further ado, I'm going to give it over to this amazing lady. Amber, thank you for being on my show.
Oh, I am just delighted to be here.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for the invitation.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome.
Okay.
We met, where did we meet now?
We met here.
That's right.
Quite a while ago.
That's right. And it was on Daytime.
Yep.
And I didn't see the whole entire of your interview, but I caught the last segment of your interview.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I said to Ron, our producer, I said, we have to get her. So who is Amber McCauley? Tell these viewers who you are, okay?
How much time do we have?
I'm gonna time it right now, honey. Like, I don't know.
No. I think I was born in a small town, starting from the beginning in Palmerston. I have two great parents and three wonderful siblings.
Okay.
With that said, a family of 6 is a busy family.
Wow, yes.
Both of my parents are very ambitious. They're entrepreneurs, they're philanthropists. All of us kids are 2 years apart.
Okay, what did your parents do?
My father's an architect and my mother's an interior designer.
Wow.
So they had a great partnership.
Demanding jobs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then doing a lot of work in the community and traveling and so it was a busy family.
Right.
And part of what has built my character today is surviving quite a bit of turbulence growing up. So my family endured some experiences that weren't easy, to say the least.
Sure.
And I personally suffered a great deal.
Okay.
Yeah. So from a young age, I remember probably around grade 6, I started to realize that I wasn't dealing very well with stress. And I was coping with bullying, assault.
When you say young, how old were you at the time?
I was around 12.
Okay. Wow, it's young.
Yeah.
Okay.
I started to spiral, and I know my family kind of recognized some of the signs that, Amber's
What were the signs? What were the signs?
Very anxious, really sensitive, overreacting a lot. And my grades, oh my gosh, in I think it was grade 5 or 6, I won a math and science award. And by the time I was in grade 8, I was barely passing. Okay. And I ended up in grade 9 and dropping out within 3 months.
How did your parents take that?
I think they were pretty confused. They were trying to support me, but they were also like, this is maybe not the best idea, but they didn't really know what to do.
Right.
And that's a big part of why I'm sitting in your chair.
Right.
Is because I recognize how much stress I was under, and then also how it affected my family. And if we had have had certain tools, I think maybe my journey wouldn't have been so drawn out, and it wouldn't have resulted in so many crises.
Right. When you were in grade 9 and you made the decision to leave school, what did you do when you were finished, when you left school? What did you do in that time? Did you go for help, assistance?
I actually traveled.
You traveled?
I had a summer job for 2 summers and I saved a lot of money. And
you're good.
I said to my parents, I want to travel. I want to go somewhere totally different. I was trying to escape, right? I was in so much pain and turmoil. I thought I need to just get out of here.
Where did you go?
I went to Brazil. Yeah.
Like you didn't just go down to Toronto, you went to Brazil?
I went to Brazil.
And how old were you again?
I was 14 when I left. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
It
right.
was, we knew someone who had arranged that I could stay with the family.
Right.
And she helped me get into a school. So I went to school when I was down there. And I was supposed to be there for a year. But after 6 months, what I realized is I couldn't really escape my inner stress, anxiety, whatever was happening inside that I was trying to escape. It came with me to Brazil.
I've got to ask you this quickly. It came with you when you went to Brazil. Did you speak Portuguese too?
A little bit. That was a while ago.
Okay.
So eu falo pouquinho português.
Amen.
A little bit.
Amen. All right. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
But it followed you when you were there?
My challenges did, absolutely. So when I was in Brazil, there was a month, 2 months, 3 months that it was okay, and then I just got in with the wrong crowd. I started getting into drugs and drinking, and I started spiraling down very quickly from there.
I'm going to ask you this because there's a gentleman that was on our show by the name of Bradley Gardner, and didn't it scare you to take drugs?
It was.
It didn't
I
scare
don't
you?
know how I survived. I think of, being a 14-year-old girl in Brazil.
Wow.
Just engaging in absolutely risky behaviors, and
would you say those were
somehow
your
making-
signals? I'm not cutting you there,
Mhm.
but were those your signals when you did that? You were telling, in a way, saying, I need some help?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. When teenagers are engaging in high-risk behaviors, that's without a doubt a signal that they're needing support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you
without a
came back
doubt.
home?
I came back home.
Okay. How long did you spend in Brazil?
I was there 6 months.
6 months. And you
Yeah.
came back, and what happened after that?
A lot of chaos.
Hmm.
Yeah, a few more years of chaos, and but I worked hard. So even though I didn't go back to school when I came back, I did get a job.
Okay.
And I loved my job. I've always been an awesome employee ever since my first job scooping ice cream when I was
can see
13.
that.
I'm on time, I'm reliable, and that's always been the case. So I worked my way up into management very quickly, and I learned some amazing business skills at a very young age. And then I had a beautiful daughter when I was 18,
Oh, what's her name?
Christiana.
Christiana.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Christiana. So that was a surprise, but it gave me a kick to shift,
Mm-hmm.
and it was awesome. Awesome to be. I remember loving being a young mom.
Oh my gosh.
And there was a lot of pressure coming
Yes,
from
sure it
people
is.
being a young mom.
Responsible.
Lots of judgments and
by people, family members, or
family and neighbors, community. At the time, I lived in a small community,
Yes.
and even I remember going to mom and baby swimming classes, and I was, half the age of most of the moms. But Christiana and I just had this beautiful bond, and
beautiful.
yeah, loved it.
Was she part of your change in helping you not look at the problems you were going through, but you kind of said, okay, I'm going to change to be better? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, was she your
Yeah.
reasoning to help you? Not making any sense at all?
It did help me kind of get over myself
Right,
and
right.
see that it's not all about me and my story and the crap that I had experienced and the poor choices that I made. I was really dragged down by my story.
Right.
Poor me.
Yes.
And having a daughter or a child, for me, it helped think, okay, there is more to life than just my story and my sadness. I was really attached to a lot of labels, right?
That's right.
I was going through all of that turmoil. I was going from doctor to doctor, taking test to test, and getting labeled with all these different labels, and put on lots of different pharmaceutical drugs. And
Amber, that was awesome. We gotta go to break. And see, I'm getting my words all mixed up here. But listen, we gotta go to break. We'll come right back and take off from there, okay? We'll be right back, guys.
When it takes everything we've got just to try to survive. When the road seems endlessly.
Welcome back to Future Prospects with Amber. Amber, that was so good. How the way you elevated me to be myself, to be honest to who I am, and to be proud of where I've came from, even though it was a turbulent up and down life. But that helps our viewers, and that just spoke from the heart there.
Yeah.
Now, you touched upon labels on the first segment.
yeah, during that time,
Right.
having, doctor after doctor come to me and my family with, these prognoses that were just dreadful
Right.
and so limiting. It just made the challenges even worse.
Right.
So we had very little hope. In fact, my parents remember being told that, I don't know which doctor, but some psychiatrist or psychologist said, your daughter is not going to amount to much. So
I'm laughing sincerely.
it was, my parents say that was what they were told, that I would probably
How did they react?
not be able to hold a job and need to be heavily medicated, and to just accept that that's how their daughter was going to be.
No. So
Yeah,
how did your
yeah.
parents react? Like, did they say like, hello?
They were like, oh, okay. These are, well-educated, reputable people who are telling them that that's how it's going to happen.
You know something? I got to hold because this is television, so I got to be very respectful. And I don't swear, but damn, like, hello, like, look at you today.
Yeah.
A beautiful mother, a daughter, a successful author, and this is where I'm going to lead into now, is this amazing book. So why did you write this book? It's called Parenting.
Yeah,
The
A
title
Map
of
to
the book?
Limitless Parenting.
Right.
And it took me several years to shed all of the shame and the guilt and to grow out of that dark place. So it wasn't like an overnight, boom, I'm going to
No.
be a success.
No.
It took years, probably about 8-10 years before I could, write a book. And one of the biggest pushes to get this book out are the staggering statistics that are coming out now with, teens and families who are in crisis.
Right.
It's all over the news,
It's
social media.
heartbreaking.
It's so devastating, and I thought The time is now.
That's right.
I've lived through certain life experiences. I've studied to work with children and parents, and I think that if I can put my education, my formal education, because I did end up going back to school after dropping out. If I can put pieces of my formal education together with my life experience, then I might be able to help. Even if I only helped one teen and one parent come together, then it would all be worth it.
I got to interrupt for just 1 second. Our other guests we have on this show, they always said life experience is something that's underrated.
Yeah.
It's forgotten. What you've got is life experience and education.
Mm-hmm.
That's powerful.
It's very powerful.
That's what's in that book.
Yes, that's exactly what's in that book.
So tell us about this book.
So the book is geared to support parents so that they can support their kids.
Mm-hmm.
I've had parents read it who have toddlers, very, very young kids, and of course the sooner that we can support our kids, the better.
That's right.
And then I have parents who, actually I've had grandparents read it.
Really?
To acquire some skills to help.
To deal with their grandkids?
With their grandkids, yeah.
That is unique.
So it's very, it's user-friendly for any age group of kids, any age group of adults that might be reading it. And a lot of it is to do with first looking at yourself. So sometimes parents will come to me, oh my gosh, Sam or Sally, they're a mess. Can you see them and fix them? And how do I deal with them? And the first thing I do with parents is ask them to whoa, sit back for a moment and get your bearings together. How can you have a heartfelt conversation with your kids if you're all like, oh my gosh, this is a mess, right?
Right.
Actually,
okay, I was going to say that. Go on, bring it out.
I got to bring
the
this
furry
out.
friend.
So teens and parents and kids,
yes,
I often see them, and they're like this. They're like a triangle,
okay,
upside down trying to balance. They're worried.
That's true.
They're
There's a lot of them out
thinking
there.
about what they did in the past. They might be feeling guilty.
Yes.
They're thinking about, oh my gosh, how am I going to fix this in the future? They're anxious about the future, maybe depressed about the past.
And the face looks
and
just
they're
like
wobbly like this.
Right.
So that's the first thing that I suggest people do is pause.
Okay.
Get out of the brain, get out of the thinking. All those unhelpful patterns are perpetuating the problem. So let's just pause, get into, there's guided mindfulness practices in the book in the beginning, and one of them is to do a body scan. It's incredible what the research is saying as to how some deep breaths, even 5 deep breaths, can shift someone out of that fight, flight, freeze brain into their prefrontal cortex, where they have more access to problem solve, to think more creatively and more objectively. So whatever crisis families are experiencing, it's important to be in that part of your brain so that you can move forward.
Okay, just for me now and for our viewers, what's a body scan? If you can open that up a little bit more.
The body scan I have in the book is a head-to-toe check-in. So
like a checklist?
Well, an internal inventory.
Okay.
So I guide people through pausing for a moment, dropping their attention inwards. You can do it with your eyes opened or closed.
Okay.
And feeling your toes, feeling your shoes on your feet.
So in a nice, quiet spot. It's like meditation in a way, is it?
It's a form of meditation.
Okay.
Yeah. It's paying attention with intention to the moment.
Wow.
And it short circuits that ruminating mind. It stops feeding that
like noise.
That noise.
Which was just talked about in my show last week. Yes. Take the noise out. Keep the noise at the back and keep focused.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. That is so true. If you turn that thing upside down again, what do you call that thing? The fuzzy.
This is yeah, it's just my wobbly person.
But that's so true, though, because if you let it go,
Yeah,
that's how we are.
It falls.
Wow.
And if we're trying to communicate with somebody else who's in that state, that's
do it.
difficult. So for parents to embody these strategies so that they can role model and support their kids that's a gift. You don't have to take a psychology course to learn how to drop into your body.
You don't have to.
Sometimes what I hear is parents they overthink the situation.
Yes.
Maybe they have all of these labels with their kids and they're on these prescription drugs and they're overwhelmed with all the information.
Right.
And my suggestion is to have that information. It's not that information is useless.
Right.
And add in some strategies that are basic, that are accessible.
Common sense.
Common sense.
Wow. And how long did it take you to write this book?
It was in the works for about 5 years, and it wasn't until I decided to drop out of the academic, because I dropped out in grade 9, I had this inner critic that was like an overachiever. So I thought, I have to write a book that's very sciencey, that's very research,
Comparing
evidence-based.
again. Comparing again.
Yeah, and it was hard. So for years I was trying to write this book. And then I took a writing course, and a mentor had suggested, you're kind of writing a thesis, Amber.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I don't want to write a thesis. Who's going to want to read my thesis? And he suggested that I maybe just write my own book.
That's right.
That's
But
me.
isn't author supposed to write that, though? If you're going to share something to people, it's got to represent you.
Those are the books that seem to do the best.
Well,
I
yes.
just didn't realize it until
Because
a
again,
few
you're
years
comparing
later.
yourself and thinking, well, I've got to be. Not saying it's wrong with the ones that do that.
No, those books have a place.
Exactly.
They just weren't. It wasn't my place.
No, because your place is just to talk simple, calmly, the way you represent yourself already.
Yes.
You know. Now, do you show this when you do your presentations? I know you're very, very busy in working it, but do you do this on PowerPoint too?
Yeah, I take that workbook and I teach the content in webinars online.
Okay.
I go to different locations and teach it in person. And then I also do family work with private families.
What's your
and the
most favorite
workbook.
audience?
That's tough. I would say I've only in the last 2 years started the online, which was a leap. I didn't really like online, but once I started teaching online, I'm finding I quite enjoy it. And it's very accessible for people who might not be able to drive from point A to point B. It's convenient where parents are very busy. They can click on a link, they can be in their living room and take the course. So I like that part of the online learning, but I do love being in a room with a group of parents, and the energy is pretty cool when it's in a group.
The book is called
A Map to Limitless Parenting.
Okay, A Map to Limitless Parenting. Why that title? What is the reason for you titling that way?
Because I think, from my experience, parents often should on themselves, shame themselves, feel guilty, feel very like they're doing things wrong. And we can be limitless parents. We can have missteps. I mean, I've made oodles of missteps as a parent. I've by no means been a perfect parent.
So what you're saying in a sense is parenting is limitless.
It's limitless what you can do.
Right.
It's, absolutely limitless what you can do with your kids. And there's no perfect parent.
That's right. That's right. I love who you are all the time.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, they'll pick up on that.
And so as parents start to learn how to balance and ground that ruminating mind, the next step in the workbook is to look at assertive communication in comparison to passive, passive-aggressive, and aggressive.
Right.
And then being able to facilitate a genuine conversation with your kids.
And most important, to be comfortable who we are too, though.
That's the first step, is
Right.
getting in your own skin and getting comfortable with, you know, the choices that you're making and being upfront with your kids.
And it's funny because there was a lady on our show just a couple of weeks ago, and I said, is there a book out there that we can, like, you know, people are having kids, but they really don't know what they're doing? And she goes, well, I don't think it's something that you can teach, but at the same time, they can also be a guide in a sense, right?
Yeah.
On that note, hon, we got to go to break, all right? We're going to pick up from this amazing interview with Amber. We'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned.
Seems endlessly long, and we're looking to find the strength to carry on.
Welcome back to Future Prospects. We were just talking off camera, and I was just saying to Amber, with this little guy, we should probably take this to my house. And when we're having a discussion on basketball, this is the guys, right? This is Sean and Michael. Amber, oh, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, right? And now this is me giving them the facts. So I like this little thing. I just had to say that. But anyway, I just like to have fun. All right, but I love that tour. I love it.
Thank you.
We left off the imbalance.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the imbalance in life. And you have a tool that you use. It's like the circles. And we're going to bring it up on screen. And you're going to talk to us why the reason you use this amazing tool.
Yeah.
Okay?
So when we're denying or when we're not being truthful or genuine or honest or upfront,
Okay.
as a parent or as a teen,
Right.
then it creates separation. So when we're denying our experience or our essence, we create this separation with other people and an inner separation.
That's
There's
right.
this disconnect.
That's right.
It's very limiting,
Okay.
and it feeds that worrying mind. So when we're in
So the top
that,
part.
yeah, when we're in that disconnect,
Right.
when we're in denial and we're feeling limited, we're worrying. We're
Okay.
overthinking, we're wobbly.
So you
We're
show
off
the
balance.
top part.
That's the top part.
And the bottom part represents,
The flip side is when we accept our situation.
which is hard to do sometimes.
Absolutely.
Like, you know.
Absolutely. I go into denial
Yes.
frequently.
Yes. I pray.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Right?
With a few breaths, right, we can choose. So we might notice that denial come up. But if we get to a point where we're in that prefrontal cortex of our brain, we can be like, okay, this is the situation. Let's accept it.
Okay.
This is what's happening. Then there's this sense of connection, right? There's
Okay.
an inner connection, there's an alignment of being with what is.
Right. But go ahead.
When we accept and we're feeling connected, there's a lot more potential. There's a limitless ability to work with people, to work within ourselves. I like to use that law of physics, right?
Yes.
So the combined efforts is greater than the sum of its parts.
Okay.
So if you and I could each only pull 100 pounds at max, you know, technically we'd only be able to pull 200 pounds if we're pulling together, right?
That's right. That's right.
But physics proves that if you and I collaborate and our combined efforts are pulling, we far exceed 200 pounds. I think that's pretty awesome.
So now, why can't we use that? And I'm going to be devil's advocate here. When elections are on.
No!
Okay, you want to talk? Let's talk. Like, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's a whole other subject, but I had to
Yeah.
say that. You're saying it like that, but why is it that we have that fight with each other? Is that we can't accept who we are, or we...
It's the first circle is acceptance and connection.
Right.
What's happening globally right now? It is not connecting. We are putting ourselves and each other in groups.
Right.
You're with this group, or you're with that group, or you're not for this group, or you're for that group. We're grouping, we're not connecting.
Wow. But that's what we're doing with our young people. That's the message we're giving back to our young people.
That's what the young people are seeing.
And it's disturbing, though, really, in a sense, because they're trying to find themselves, as they have, they sit in my chairs every week when they come
Yes.
on, and they say, we're trying to get ourselves figured out where we go, our own identity.
Yeah.
But we, the ones that have already walked that roadmap, we're confusing them even more.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why these kinds of conversations are so important right now.
Right.
And that's why I've decided to just kick into high gear in the last year with my work,
Yes.
because now is the time.
Absolutely.
Now is the time. And when we're working together, we have that limitless power. And then we can trust. We trust that, okay, life is happening, but I'm working with people, and I trust that the outcome is going to work out.
But you know something, Amber, you make it sound so simple. And again, I'm just being the devil's advocate. I understand
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying. But it's so peaceful and you're so calm. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm just, not like that, guys. I'm calm too. But I'm just a different way of being calm. But, as a truth. But with yourself, you're very calming. But why is it within our youth today? Because that's always my focal point, as well as the leaders in their lives, their parents, their teachers,
Yes.
whomever. Why is it that we don't just take it easy, just chill a little bit, as the young people say, and just relax? Be more like them in a sense, more than making them all kitty. Because why is it that we're like we are?
I don't think we're really taught. That's why I love working with teachers. Love
Yes.
working with teachers, because we have, for example, we have the food guide, the Canada Food Guide.
Right.
Right alongside it, let's have the mental health guide. Right? Because teachers, adults, we've all been asked, sit down, pay attention. Or maybe our
Right.
parents have said, oh, get over it, forgive and forget. And we're asked to do these things, but we're never really taught how to do it.
Right.
So I think it's something that we've all gotten into together.
Right.
And I think we can all work at sorting it out.
We're not at the end of the show, so we've got 2 more great times with you, 2 more segments with you. But I want to ask you this. What's your goal with this book?
My goal is to connect with as many people as I can.
Right.
And support a shift in these statistics. Like, the statistics are,
But
they're
even
frightening.
statistics, like with statistics, totally drowning in statistics. Like it's on television.
Yes.
It's on television. We're going to turn the TV on and go, okay, there's another one. We've got it. Newspapers, social media now. You don't need any more. We need some sound facts, not facts, solutions to apply.
That's exactly what
Right?
my wish is for this book, is to start shifting out of that. So, okay, identified there's a problem.
That's right.
We know all about the problem.
That's right.
Problem this, problem that, blame this, blame that. Okay, fine. Everybody's been heard. Are we ready now to move forward?
Right.
And that little tiny workbook has some simple steps to help parents, teachers, kids, families, communities, cities, countries move forward.
How simple?
It starts with that individual.
Okay, when you do your presentations, is it open? Is it interactive?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So we can have anybody can voice their opinion.
Yeah. I did a
Nice.
presentation at a business network just last week, and they all expected a PowerPoint, and they had a podium up for me, and
You didn't use one.
I put a chair right in front of everyone, and I sat down, and I had one slide up, which we'll see later. And I said, well, what makes me a great leader is not that I can stand up here and give you this awesome presentation on the PowerPoint. It's that I can sit here and have a heartfelt conversation.
Give me your hand. Give me your hand. Because I do the same thing.
Awesome.
I do the same thing. I had to get
Yeah.
excited. I'm sorry. I do not use a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
So why is it that, why do you do that? Why?
Because we have to start thinking outside of the box and acting outside, because the box is not working anymore.
That's right.
It's not.
But it's so simple though.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So how do they feel when you talk like that? Like you must get some great stuff happening at your presentations.
I don't know. I mean, from what I hear.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's peculiar. So people are often like, what?
But they don't walk out the door and say, okay, I'm getting out of here.
No.
Like they
Touch wood, no.
No,
Not
but
so far.
but it's open and they can get to talk.
Yeah, and they think it's refreshing.
Do you use that book as a workbook? Do they all get one, or they purchase it before, or
It
how does
depends
it
on that presentation wasn't about the workbook necessarily.
Okay.
It was more about life skills.
Skills.
Not a parenting group, but in some presentations the workbook would be included, and we walk through it part by part.
Are those skills transferable?
100%.
100%. Oh my
The
God.
skills in there would work with communicating with your boss, communicating with your
Awesome.
neighbors,
Because you kept it so simple.
your social groups. It's so simple.
Wow. Have you ever done any with youth yet? Have you done any with young people yet?
In that workbook, some of the exercises I've done with youth, because I
Yes.
go into schools and I run
Nice.
mindfulness and social emotional learning in the classrooms,
Nice.
and a lot of the tools are similar that I do with youth. And the youth really appreciate when someone comes in to do breathing, to talk about triggers. Today I did a group of 30 who we were just talking about emotional triggers, and you know, the shares and the reflections are so rich.
They're crying out, Amber. They're crying out, as you said at the beginning of your segment on the first part of the show. You send messages.
Yeah.
And to have someone come in and talk to you and to say, can you just hear me for a while? Can you just touch upon it?
Yeah.
It's like you're listening to them,
Yeah.
you know? You got a lot of feedback, I bet.
Listening it's important.
Why?
It's
Why,
so
hon?
important. Because from my experience when I was going through my darkest days,
Yes.
I didn't think anyone really heard me.
Right.
And I think when we lend an ear and just not listen to the words, I think people understand.
Actively listening.
But listening to the space between the words, listening to the intonation, the body language, listening for any, because when a youth might say, I'm fine. It's easy for me to be like, okay, they're fine, moving on, because we're busy.
That's right.
Clearly, that individual would not be fine
That's
if that was
right.
the body language.
That's what a gentleman back, I never forget him. It was a couple that lost their son to suicide. It was my first or second year of Future Prospects. And he said, I did see it, but I wasn't looking. Because you just think, okay, they're just going for their stuff.
Yeah.
But he said to me at the end of the show, he says, Joy, the best thing we can say is that I'm here for you.
Yeah.
I'm here for you now, right? And I wish I had that when I was young, because I never had that. right? And
We all want to be heard.
we all want to be heard,
Absolutely.
you know? Even in adults, we want to be heard.
Absolutely.
Because you find that some parents even bring their past into the future,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that you must see within your, do you hear that within parents when they talk, do they talk about their past in your workshops?
Like carrying around
Yes.
their baggage.
Their
and-
baggage on their back, the backpack that's loaded with bricks.
Yeah. You know, because their parents did that or their grandparents did that, and then they're just repeating the cycle, and oh, yeah.
My God.
Yeah, everybody's complicated. You know, we all have these
Stuff.
Yeah, this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why the awareness piece is
Help.
that's the base, right?
That's right.
Aware of your mind, where it is, and dropping into now.
So your book per se, as you said, can help parents, educators, business even get along.
Yeah.
Because some employees, then they go into work, they feel like, oh, well, you know, I'm just here because you need me, but not knowing without them, you don't have a company, right?
Office politics, right?
Right.
It's like, yeah.
That's right.
It's all because of a lack of communication and interpersonal skills, which we're not necessarily taught.
Oh my God, that's amazing. We got to go to break, pretty lady, and I can say that because you're pretty outside as well as in. You are, hon. Okay?
You are too sweet.
It's the truth. We'll be right back with Amber.
When it takes everything we've got just to try to survive. When the road seems endlessly long and we're
Welcome back to Future Prospects with Amber. I was just discussing, I like to share things with my viewers because we're real here. 1 hour already, it's nearly ending. Isn't
Yeah.
that amazing? And we've
Yeah,
covered
it's wild.
so much, hon.
Yeah.
You know, we've covered a lot, but there's a tool in the sense that what could someone take away from you? Like, what is it that, a gift that you could do, like?
Well, there is one thing, actually, and I'm going to give you a present, and I want to ask that you open it here, because it relates to what we're talking about.
Really?
And
Is it Godiva chocolate?
there might be some chocolate in there.
Really?
And it's included right at the very start of my book. In the introduction is this. And this is one thing that I think needs to be on every fridge.
Really? Okay. All right.
Maybe at least in Barrie. Every fridge in Barrie.
So this is for parents, right?
And kids and families.
And kids. Am I taking my time? My family always said to me, Mom, just open it up.
It's not fragile.
No?
It's a survival kit. And
Oh
if
my
you read the
gosh!
slip inside,
I don't have my
you'll
glasses
know
on, Amber.
why.
Okay, I can do this because you got a bit of
Yeah. So this is what
A survival kit.
it's a mental health survival kit, but I think it's a life survival kit.
So can I say it?
Yeah. By all
Toothpick.
means.
Why a toothpick?
Why does it say?
Okay, I don't have a glasses.
Oh, so that you can pick out the good things in life.
Rubber band.
To remain flexible. To remind you to
Ooh.
remain flexible.
Okay. Band-aid.
To remind you that all wounds will heal.
A pencil.
To remind you to write down your blessings every day.
That's something we don't do we? We don't write down it. We don't even think about our blessings.
A lot of people forget. Even simple things like being blessed to have a nose,
Yes.
being blessed to have hair. Sometimes when we're in big life situations where everything seems like it's in turmoil, we forget the blessings that we have.
There's one thing I was watching on television the other day. A mother holding, it was in Tanzania or somewhere, don't quote me on the country, but she was holding her son who died. So he died in her arms because she couldn't provide drinking water. And it might sound crazy, guys, but it's the blessings in life that when you sit down and you have a glass of water.
Yep.
That's a blessing.
That is a blessing.
You know, so write down the blessings every day. An eraser.
To remind you that everybody makes mistakes.
Right. This is really good. I'm going to keep going here. Gum. To remind you to
stick with it and be persistent. I love that.
Oh! And why is it important to stick with it?
To be persistent.
But it's not easy sometimes. Sometimes you feel like you're saying, you know, enough is enough, man. I just want to cry me a river. I want to just go hang out and just whoa for 2 years.
The great leaders in our world
Yes,
are persistent people.
that's right. That's you and I and
Yeah.
many others.
I've been knocked down many times, and it just keeps, I just keep growing, keep going, adjusting, and keep going.
And if you were to listen to that doctor that told your parents,
I would not be sitting here with
That's
you.
right.
There's,
mint. Okay, mint.
To remind you that you're a mint to someone.
I could be strawberry jelly bean. I could be
You're refreshing.
refreshing.
You're refreshing. Yeah.
Okay. Candy kiss.
That everybody needs a kiss.
Everybody needs a kiss?
Yeah. Everybody needs affection.
That's so true.
Yeah.
A tea bag.
To remind you to sit down with a cup of tea and write your blessings.
The cup of tea and write your blessing.
The cup of tea.
I heard that from a lady who was one of my mentors on television, Joyce Mayer, and she says, just have a cup of tea. And I do this in the morning after I walk my dog, Benito. He's awesome, by the way. And I'll walk Benito, and I'll go back home after I walked him 10 o'clock in the morning, and I do this every single morning. And I'll close the door, he'll have his yogurt, I'll make myself a cup of coffee, not tea, but I'll sit down, I'll watch her, and I'll just go through my day.
Nice.
That's what I do every single day. It gets me on an even keel. And I keep out the noise.
Yeah.
The people that want to track you down and tell you the woes.
Yeah.
know?
Having a daily routine, and that's
Yes.
part of that reminder, is to instill a daily routine for yourself.
That's important, isn't it?
It is.
Do you do it?
Like you, absolutely.
When do you do yours?
Yeah. I do mine. I do rituals throughout the day because maybe I need more.
No, no.
But yeah, I do every morning, and usually it's a mindfulness practice, although I drink tea and coffee throughout the whole day, and I carve out time at the end of the night
So
as
what
well.
is one of your rituals? If you do many, share one.
Mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
I sit and breathe
Wow.
and drop into my body.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quarter.
A quarter, that shows how old this idea is. It's to have money to put in a payphone so that you can call someone when you need support.
Okay.
Now, I don't see too many payphones around. And I
No.
think I've heard that they're $1, not 25 cents. But the quarter is symbolic.
Okay.
And you might not have a payphone, but most of us have easy access to a cell phone.
Cell phone, texting.
Yeah.
But sending a positive message.
Exactly. To reach out, because we're not designed to live life alone, right? Our whole evolution was because we work together
That's right.
in community. So when
That's
we
true.
are going through turbulence, whether it's physical health challenges, mental health challenges, life challenges, it's important to reach out.
Now, I'm older than yourself, you're younger than me, but you know my journey is with youth. And it's people like yourself that are part of the future prospects of our world. That's why you're here
Yes.
on the show, because you're empowering them, you're inspiring them.
Yes.
Why is it that we got a lot of issues with this mental issues today, my love? What is happening in the world today with our youth?
Yeah, that's a big question.
Like,
And there just seems to be such an abundance of information and stimulation and overload, and I think developmentally,
right,
an adolescent's brain has not gotten to a point where it filters things in the same way as a mature brain, which happens around 25 or 29.
right,
So if you think of, we're exposed to, I think there was a study for 2010, 3 gigabytes of information every day, which is enough to blow up a computer within a week.
really?
And that was 7 years ago. So there's a lot that we're being exposed to day in and day out, positive, negative. It's a lot.
So
we're
we
on
doing it
overload.
to them, Amber? Do you think, in your perspective, that we're doing it? Like the social area of it is? Social media, in a sense? Like, I've never heard of so many. Every time I talk to a young person, again, it's the label.
Yes.
It's a label. They don't introduce themselves. It's a label. Well, I have ADD, or I'm ordering from a menu. A young lady said to me, she's only 15 years old. Oh, I have anxiety. Why? Because I take too long to order.
Right.
What?
Yeah. Well,
What?
babies are not born with labels, so it would make sense that it's the adults that would
Are
be
doing it.
putting them in these labels, and yeah.
And it's hard on them, because how are they supposed to feel? How are they supposed to find their own identity if we are labeled, if society is labeling them? They don't even know how to even introduce themselves, let alone the first thing they say they have a label. They don't even have their own name. Like, it's very, very sad what is happening. You know, that's why your book and your information, what's your mission? What's your mission?
My mission would be to support adults to support the next generation
Okay,
more holistically.
okay.
Everybody work together. And I think we all have a different perspective as to why this is a crisis and why this is a problem and what's happened. And everybody seems to take their stance. And I see how everybody is seeing it from their perspective. And together we need to sort this out. And that's my wish.
That's
is
right.
to be collaborative.
Yes.
It's okay if your kid is diagnosed with ABC, or you have XYZ. That's all welcome.
Right.
And then let's kind of build on each other's strengths.
Right. How do you get people to contact you? I know we've got a couple minutes left, but is there a website?
I do have a website, and
Okay.
it's coachambermacaulay.com.
Okay.
I think now if you Google Amber Macaulay and Barry,
Comes up?
you'll find all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, I know on your website you have something that's coming up now. Is it a fundraiser that you're doing?
I do. I have a local fundraiser called Home Sweet Home, and it's going to be a great
Okay.
event.
Awesome.
And if you're searching for Home Sweet Home, you'll
just go on your
you'll
website.
find that. Yeah.
And you can find it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, hon.
Yeah. And the events that I do are very empowering. So it's about taking life and moving on. So
Awesome.
recognizing that collectively we're having challenges.
That's amazing.
And then collectively having some fun and
Giving back.
exploring. Yeah.
That's right. You enjoy what you
Yeah.
do, don't you?
I love, I don't even know if there's a word to describe.
Give us one
how
word.
much
Come
I
on, give
enjoy-
us one word.
I really love what I do. Like, I get shivers when I talk about what I do, and I talk about
Yes.
what I do all the time, and I still, like, it's magical.
When I leave here, every time I come here into studio every week, I go home, and Ron doesn't see this, but I literally go, yes.
Yeah.
And I just get so excited.
So what would the word be that you would use?
I would just go, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. If I'd listened to all those voices, if I'd listened that whatever, and kept comparing myself to the ones that were married, and I had Michael at 40, and I met the love of my life at 36, if I kept listening to those crazy nut voices, people, I would never be sitting here today. I wouldn't be sitting beside you.
I showed you the picture of the purple cow.
Yes.
The
purple cow.
That is, like, I love what I do so much that I will put a purple cow on a surfboard riding a wave to represent, like, how incredible life can be when you're marching to the beat of your heart, and you're brave, and you're riding the waves. Oh, they've got the
purple
picture.
heart. That's the purple heart.
And we all surf
Purple
differently.
cow.
We all surf differently. We all have life waves that interfere with our groove.
That's right.
We get knocked down, and we reach out. We have a survival kit maybe on the fridge that reminds us of what we can do to get back on the surfboard. It's exhilarating.
Oh my God, hi. Anyway, you've been a pleasure, sweetheart.
Thank you.
I look forward to coming to one of your workshops and sitting beside you. Thank you. You're a blessing.
Thank you, Joy.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Bye, guys.
Times in our lives.